All right, investigation 19.2, resonance and standing waves. We will be using some new equipment for this, so this is going to be both an introductory to this material as well as going over the lab. I'll probably break it up into two parts. So this one, how to hook everything up, and then I'll pull back and show you guys the full stand and the demonstration. This is the sound and waves from the sound and waves kit. These guys should be materials from your box. Inside of this, you also get the string as well as the cable. You also need to go to your accessories kit to find a couple of these guys. If you can't find those, just let me know and I can help out if you don't have any, but typically there's quite a few extra of these lying around. Okay, first let's set up these guys up onto the stand here. You'll be able to see how I hook up the bottom one here. The top one is going to be hooked up just the same at the very top. So this will go into the very top hole. This goes into the one just below it. And screw it on, so that won't be on camera right now. I'll show you this one. So I'm going to make sure that this one goes onto the second hole so that this goes into the bottom hole. And that is as low as it will go. And then put one of my screws there on the bottom. So that is secure. You can see how I connected the string here. Actually, I'll pull it off for you. All you need to do to connect this onto your machine is just to tie a knot. So I just tied a knot on this end, threaded it through, and then that knot, there you go. That knot will keep it from flying off. On the other end, before I put this up, you'll see that this is just a whole bunch of washers on that end. So you unscrew it to loosen those up. You'll string your string through it and then tighten it up. It gives you instructions to make sure that you pull this all the way up so it's tight and then kind of stretch it a little bit to give it that sort of elastic feel. I'll put that up in a second. So with your sound and waves machine, first you'll hook it up to your CPO using one of your cables, your data collector. I chose blue, it could be blue or red. So that you see should now be turned on. And then your audio cable plugs into the back right behind there. And this actually plugs into the bottom of your wave generator right there. In order to correctly be, always interrupt.
And Ivan, Roland, Marmello, please report to the front office to go home.
Okay, what I found to be a good way to measure and actually see what my data is, if I go to data collection, double check your setup. You want to make sure that you're measuring in frequency. Right now it's set to 500 samples at a rate of 1. So this will be good for 500 seconds, which is, X amount of minutes. That's pretty good. And then I can go ahead and click go. And what this will do is tell me what my frequency is at any given time. So that way we got our data points. To get this guy to actually get to frequency, I'm going to hold this guy up. When it's at the top light, you'll see it says sound. If I click it, it drops down to, well, now it's not dropping down to anything. Let me try unplugging it and plugging it in. Always a good fix. And yeah, see, if you click it once, it goes down to beat, but if you click it again, it goes up to sound. So when the light is on sound, hold it, and then it'll go into waves, and you'll see now it's creating waves. It starts off pretty low. You can see I'm at 10 hertz. And so you're gonna have to really crank it up to get to some of the higher frequencies in order to see our standing waves. Click it once to turn it off. This will probably be a pretty loud lab, but that's all right. All right, I am now going to cut to the part where now you can see the whole thing. So here we go. Hey, here's what it looks like fully set up. I'm gonna have the string here, so hopefully on camera you guys can see it move, but frame rate, I have no idea what you guys are gonna be seeing here. So I'll just interpret as we go. And then I've got the data collector all set up to tell me what am I measuring at. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and switch this on. Hopefully the shaking doesn't make too much noise. I'm gonna talk a little bit louder. Hopefully that comes through okay. You should see it kind of starts wiggling, it makes a little bit of noise. Students are going to be changing the frequency in order to get all the different standing waves pictured there, as many as they can get. And so you might want to start by giving them the first one, which I found to be at about 12 or 12.25. Let me get back to, and I found that when I did it the last time, when I found the right spot, it was really quiet. There we go. And so now you can't really hear it as much. So that might be a cue for your students when it's in sync, it actually comes in pretty quiet. And so this is at 12.25 as it's measured on here. And that is one. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I basically have a node here and a node there. So it's just one wave. And then your students may not know this until they start completing the data, but basically if you go up, double it. So if I'm at 12.25 now, if I go up to 24.5, you have to be patient with your readout because it's a little bit slow, but you see the volume just whoop, drop down again. And this is pretty, I don't know if it's picking up on camera, but they'll know, like these are sizable wavelengths there. And I have one node here in the middle. And again, I don't know if that's picking up. Hopefully the whiteboard helps you see that. So, okay, I went up by 12. So I'm gonna go up by another 12, so I'm gonna go up to 36. Keep going. That's why the data collector, super important. You see it got quieter. Now at these frequencies, there's always gonna be a sound, but now I have one wave, two wave, three wave. Here's a node, there's a node. So now we should go up to 48. Oop, too high. There we go. Quiet again. 1, 2, 3, 4. One node, two node, three node. You kind of get the pattern. You keep going up by 12s, and you'll figure that out. Now your wavelength, it does give you a very good introduction that you might want to go through with students, but maybe perhaps you have this set up. This is set up, as long as you got it hooked up to the bottom and the top correctly, it's 1 meter from here up to the top. So finding your wavelength is pretty easy. When you're in the first harmonic, your wavelength is 2 meters because you only have half of a wave. You gotta do that, have 2 bumps. And so the second harmonic is actually a wavelength of 1 meter. And so you can have your students calculate the wavelength just by the number of nodes that there are. So this is pretty cool. Make sure that this is set up so they can read that. It's a great visual, how they can see the nodes. Like I can hold here and it's still kind of traveling up the wave. Pretty cool experiment. Definitely if you need help setting this guy up, reach out to me. And then there's just some questions for students to complete. So really not a tough lab at all, just the setup part. All right, that's investigation 19.2. Ugh.